What's up, everyone? My name is Ethan. Welcome to Splash City. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it. So, here we are, NBA Finals. We have our matchup set, finally. It's been kind of a long season, but we are here. This is the culmination of, long months of basketball, and we have the Suns and the Bucks meeting in the NBA Finals. So let's talk about this matchup. I'll give a prediction for who I think's going to win. We'll give some analysis on the matchup, how it went during the regular season, and how I expect this series to go. Some things to watch, some notes to take a look at, and what it means for both of these teams to be here. So the first thing I want to talk about with this one is a reminder to everybody that the ratings the NBA Finals get will not matter to you whatsoever. I see a lot of people on Twitter, and this has kind of been a talking point throughout the playoffs, right? As we see which teams are left over and which teams are likely to advance and all that stuff. There's not really big markets left over. Like Phoenix and Milwaukee, they're like okay sized markets, but they're not huge. And so, same thing with Atlanta if they had won. And even if the Clippers, we know LA is a big market, but the Clippers are obviously not as popular as the Lakers are. So, a lot of people have kind of been, oh, well, the ratings are not going to be good, and this is not good for the league. The league wants this team. The league wants that team, blah, 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 blah. The people who are watching these videos, we are diehard NBA fans, okay? Everybody who's here, watches the NBA regularly. We keep up with every single team, and we follow the league very closely, right? The ratings that this final series gets is not going to have an effect on you. It's fine. It doesn't matter. And just enjoy the basketball, because this is going to be good basketball. Hopefully Giannis is healthy and we get a good series, because both these teams deserve to be here. They've been deserving all year. And I know the injury stuff as well is the other thing that people are going to talk about, right? Oh, well, the Nets were hurt. Oh, well, the Clippers were hurt. Oh, well, the Lakers were hurt. Blah, 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 blah. It's fine. These teams, you can only play who's in front of you. There was no dirty play on either side that caused opponents to get injured. And these teams are here because they deserve to be, right? Maybe if everybody's healthy, things would have been different. Injuries happen every single year. It's just a part of the game. We deal with it and move on. Every year, people are like, oh, well, this team wouldn't have been here if not for injuries, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. The Bucks and the Suns were two of the best teams in the league the entire season. This is not an unexpected finals matchup in my eyes. I think both of these teams had great shots coming into it. I picked the Suns to get to the finals out of the Western Conference, going into the playoffs, because I thought they were that good. And both of these teams absolutely deserve to be here. So those are the two things. Ratings do not have any effect on you, and I'm not even sure that it will get bad ratings, because I think that these teams are ones that people are excited about watching. And also, just don't worry about the injuries. It's just part of the game, and both these teams deserve to be where they are. So get excited for this, because it's going to be fun basketball. So here we go. Let's talk about the basketball. First thing to address is obviously Giannis. We don't know if he's going to be available for game one, or when he will be back during this series, and if he's back, if he's at 100%. Obviously, that's a big swing factor, because Giannis is, probably the best player in this series, unless, like, Devin Booker's going supernova. But, on most nights, Giannis is going to be the best player on the court, because this is a two-time MVP we're talking about. No shade to Devin Booker, but Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? I'm going to read you this tweet from Chris Haynes. I have this on my phone right here. This is from yesterday. There's belief Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo would be given the green light for a potential Game 7 if Hawks avoid elimination in Game 6 on Saturday. So what that says to me, now that's not from Woj or Shams, so take it as you will, but Chris Haynes is a very, respected NBA reporter. He says that Giannis would have played in Game 7 had there been a Game 7. Now, there's not going to be Game 7 because the Bucks won in Game 6 and advanced to the finals. So Game 7 would have been on Monday. Game 1 of the finals will be on Tuesday. So that gives Giannis an extra day to potentially, keep rehabbing and resting and get himself ready for the start of this final series. And we will see if he's able to go in Game 1. Now, you might want to make the argument that there's less urgency for the Bucks here, and they might want to hold him out, because obviously if you get to a Game 7 against Atlanta, it's a win or go home. You got to get that one, and so Giannis would have much more of an urgency to play, whereas in Game 1 of the finals, yes, of course, it's the finals, you want to try to win, but if he doesn't play, you have a couple of extra games. You have a little bit more leeway, because Game 1 is obviously not win or go home, whereas Game 7 would be. So, Giannis, who knows on his health? I'm hoping that he's healthy, just because I'm just hoping that we get a good, competitive, clean series with not too many injuries either way. And, I just want to see this matchup, because I really think that these two teams are great for each other. I think this is going to be a fun series. Could go either way. And we will see how this one goes. But I'm hoping that Giannis is healthy, because that's obviously huge for Milwaukee. Okay, so now let's talk about the matchup. Assuming that Giannis does play, the Suns are going to have to figure out how to guard him, obviously, and that's mostly going to fall on DeAndre Ayton. Now, he has answered the bell. Every single time he's been called on this postseason, he has showed up and more. This has been a breakout playoff run for him. A lot of people have been pleasantly surprised with DeAndre Ayton and how well he's played in his third year. He's been great. I have no worries whatsoever about him being able to hold up defensively, about him being able to do what he can on offense and, be an effective player. Now, he's had a couple of bad games here and there, right? And Anthony Davis, back when he was healthy in the first round, did have a couple of good games against Ayton, and I'm assuming that Giannis will be able to, do the MVP type things, assuming that he's on the floor. Giannis is going to be able to, score his 30 whatever points a game and get his 10, 15 rebounds and do his thing, right? You're not going to stop Giannis. But Ayton can do enough to slow him down, I think, and especially if Giannis is limited with that knee, DeAndre Ayton should be able to, do enough to at least make life hard on him and not, give up 40, 50 points every single night to Antetokounmpo, because obviously you're trying to avoid that. If Giannis is dropping huge numbers, you're not going to have a good chance to win. So DeAndre Ayton, I have a ton of faith in him to be able to hold his own against really anybody at this point. I do think he is that good of a player now. And he's just going to be able to, be effective in this series. So Ayton's the one guy to watch, but he's answered the call every single time so far this playoffs. I don't think this time's going to be any different. So that's the one matchup there. Chris Middleton on the wing, it's pretty obvious who the Suns are going to go to on him. It's going to be Jay Crowder. It's going to be Mikal Bridges. It's going to be Devin Booker at times. You can get a switch onto Chris Paul, but he can also hold his own on defense. Maybe not as well as he could a couple of years ago, even though he's kind of small, but he can stay in front of you and he's pesky. So the Suns have a lot of good wing defenders. They're going to be able to do their thing on Middleton. Middleton is sort of up and down. He's had some really big games this playoffs, but he's also had a couple of inefficient ones. And we'll see, what kind of shooting performances he's going to have in the finals. They're going to need him to show up if they want to have a chance to win. So we'll see how consistent Middleton's going to be. But he's just one of those guys where if he's hot shooting wise, there's not much you can do. Otherwise, just body up on him, make it tough for him to get his shot off. Do those same things that you would to any other star wing, and he's not gonna super kill you, assuming that he's not just hitting every shot, which happens to star players. It's a similar deal with Devin Booker, right? Booker, I'm gonna call him the same way as Middleton, right? I think Booker's better than Middleton, but he's that same similar kind of player where if his shot's going, then he's really, really tough to guard. Otherwise, just play physical with him and try to make it as hard as he can for him to get a shot off, pressure him on the ball, deny him the ball when you can. And the Bucks also have these good wing defenders that are capable of doing that as well. Obviously, you trade for PJ Tucker for a reason. Jrue Holiday is one of the best defenders in the game. Middleton himself is a great defender. And so, you've got all these guys who are capable of slowing Booker down, but you're not going to stop a guy like that. There's a reason these players are all-stars, and you just got to do the best you can. And then you have this point guard matchup, which honestly kind of feels like a match made in heaven of Jrue Holiday and Chris Paul. These two guys deserve to go at each other for a full 7 games. Both very great defenders. I would give Holiday the edge defensively at this point in both of their careers. Chris Paul, a little bit of a better passer, but both are great passers. Both can score in their own right, although, they've both kind of had shooting struggles at times this postseason, but they've done enough to get by and shown up in big moments. So I think that is also a very interesting one to watch. Jrue Holiday and Chris Paul. I think those two are going to go at it all series long. I think we're going to see some trash talk. It should be fun. But that's another one where I just feel like these two teams are meant to play against each other because they do just have these matchups that seem to work so well against each other. Middleton and Booker, Chris Paul and Jrue Holiday, and DeAndre Ayton versus Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's going to be a fun series to watch because I really do feel like these teams are relatively evenly matched. And in terms of star power, it could go either way, depending on who's hot that night. So we'll see how this one goes, but I'm excited to watch it. And then I guess let's talk about who I think is going to win. Like I said, I think in star power, these teams are probably about even. Of course, that's assuming Giannis is going to play. Otherwise, I give the edge to the Suns in depth. I feel like they have more players that are capable of coming off their bench and giving you consistent production. I don't think that's a hot take. The Bucks, beyond their 3 stars, obviously you're relying on Brook Lopez, who is capable of popping off, as we saw in Game 5 that was against the Hawks, where Lopez had a really nice game. You can talk about a guy, Bryn Forbes, it can get really hot shooting wise, but otherwise he can't do a ton for you if he's cold. Bobby Portis is another guy who's sort of up and down. Whereas on the Phoenix side, you have, a guy like Cameron Payne, Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, of course, a guy like Dario Saric off the bench when he's playing for them. The Suns are a deep team, and Torrey Craig even, he came over from the Bucks mid-season in a trade for cash considerations there, and he has well outplayed that. I wish, I'm hoping, or I think the Bucks wish they held on to him at that point, is what I'm trying to say. So, we'll see how much the depth plays a factor here. But I definitely favor Phoenix in that regard, just because I feel like they have more players that I trust while they're out there on the court. The Bucks have their 3 stars, but beyond that, a lot of their role players are pretty inconsistent. I do feel like Phoenix has the edge in that regard. And the other thing to talk about is the coaching. The Bucks are here almost in spite of Mike Budenholzer. He has had a couple of good moments. I do want to give him credit for winning this Atlanta series, making some adjustments with Giannis out and being able to take advantage of the Hawks without Trey. I think he actually had, in Game 5 and 6 where the Bucks won and were able to close this one out, I think Budenholzer actually did a pretty nice job. But overall this postseason, there have been a lot of times where they feel like they've definitely been hampered by him, and they're almost winning in spite of having that guy as their coach, just because they have so much talent. They're able to win some of these games. He's made some pretty glaring mistakes. That's all been chronicled on Twitter and on all these social medias and talk shows and stuff like that. So I'm not going to harp on Budenholzer too much, but I love Monty Williams as a coach. Prior to the season, I picked him to win Coach of the Year, and he was, neck and neck with Thibodeau to win that award. What he did last year in the bubble was incredible. All season long, Monty Williams has been a great fit for this Suns team. He was the perfect hire for what this team has right now, for Chris Paul, for Devin Booker, for all these role players. Monty Williams absolutely speaks their language, and he is getting the most that he possibly can out of this Suns roster. So I love him as a coach. He's been around a long time, and he deserves this opportunity. So I favor Monty Williams on the coaching aspect as well. So you add that all up, I feel like they're about equal in terms of star power, but I'm giving depth and coaching to the Suns. That adds up to me picking the Suns to win this series, and that's what I'm going to do. I think Phoenix is going to win this one in probably 6 games is my prediction. I think it actually could be as quick as 5. I really do trust this Suns team to be able to come up big here. I like this matchup. I'm going to give the Bucks 2 games here, though. I think they're too... they're too talented to go out in such short order there, so I'll give them 6. I think it honestly could go 7 also. I wouldn't be super shocked by that, although I do expect Phoenix to win this one. And I think we'll see the Suns come out with a victory here in 6 games and win their first ever title. That'll be a first title in franchise history for the Suns. So that'll be exciting if that does happen. Bucks, similar deal. They haven't won since 1970 something, I think is what it was, or I have no idea, but it's been a long time, right? So either way, we're gonna get a title winner that hasn't won either ever or in a very long time. So I'm gonna go with the Suns, but I think this should be a fun and good series. But yeah, that's all I have on this one. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about this series, who's going to win, how many games. Would love to hear all of your predictions down in the comments below. Yeah, with all that said, I will see you guys in the next one.